How you going, guys? Thanks for joining me. So today is Boxing Day. That's the 26th of December, and today is traditionally a racing day in this part of the world. So we've got a meet, M2 in Pukekohe, and that's in NZ, New Zealand. And today, even though I did race 1 to 10, I knew I would probably only get about four races in, and after that would just be blah. And today was no exception to that. So basically, we're only going to cover the first 5 races, and we're going to just go through the motions of what happened and that sort of thing. So I would have shown you would have seen a little ditty of a video just showing my photo selection. So just a summary on that. Basically, it's just a combination of previous targets that I've had and previous photos that I've used in the ARV course. So basically, if I've used it as a previous photo and it has been successful in the past where I've felt the impressions, I've used it in this. Targets that have had some major impressions upon me in the sessions that I've had with them, I've included them as target pictures for the numbers as well. And I've got some new ones in there which are quite interesting. I'm interested to see if I do feel anything, but actually I'm hoping that I don't, and just simply work around the numbers that I do know a lot about. So with that note, let's continue on with the photos. So basically there's been 16 photos in all. So 16 photos, which represent the numbers from 1 to 16. If you've seen the pictures, I've put in the man on stage, which is an old target. We've got a cave pic, which is an ex-ARV photo, which works out really well. Kite PC, I've got really good impression of that. Mannequin face cover, that's an ex-ARV as well, and has worked really well. Earrings pick is new. Nose and lip pierce, very interesting, but they're new as well. I've never had them. Mountain Snow, ex-ARV. It's amazing how, you just feel cold. Eye patch, ex-ARV photo, so I've used him. Refueling plane has been an old target. COVID mask picture is ARV. ex-ARV, sorry. And hold on, wipe my eye because I've got something in it. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna. Alright. Tree climber, so he's an old session. I had some really good impressions from that session. Apollo Moon on a crew. Now he's an old target. I felt some really good impressions from that, so definitely going to enjoy that. Nest eggs, definitely had ex-ARV. Bali site, just a recent target. Prosthetic leg is new. And Blindfold Girl is ex-ARV. Alright, so ex-ARV photos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. X7. New 1, 2, 3. And the rest 10 is 6 ex-ARV. No. 6 targets. Alright. So yep. Got pictures sorted out, got some unknowns in there, which are the new ones, got some existing impressions. So basically my thing here is it's best that you choose targets that you are familiar with or had previous impressions. It's really no use going in with new impressions, really, unprepared into this space. It's best that you know what you're facing up to before you use them as a target for a number. You want to know that you're familiar with the targets really before you use them as representations for anything else, or associative remote viewing. So that's a lesson I'm learning as I'm continuing this sort of thing, but definitely I'm reusing the ones. I'm definitely feeling them. I've got some new ones which have some really good positive impressions that I can use, so let's see what happens today. So that's picture selection, very important. And basically this is the session how we go. So let's go. I start off with my page, Pukekohe race day, M2 race 1, my intent first horse for race 1, and M2 Pukekohe race day. So that's the basic intent. And I go and do my M1 race 1, M2 race 1. First horse, those are my thoughts. Give me the first horse of this race 1, M2 race 1. Boom. Go through the motions, touch, text, temp, colour, smell, hearing, and go through the motions of the snapshots. And it's a page, so basically it's the short form that I use on the buses and the trains. I've sort of prepped it so it now becomes 30 minutes, enough for between races. Not that you'd want to do this on race day. I should have prepared a lot better, but if you have to, you can pace it out, and you can do this in half an hour easy, or even 15 minutes. Pop. All right. So as far as race 1 goes, boom, flat, hard, cold. Text, we've got cold coming in from the outside, cold down the middle of the back. So okay. Temp, we've got super warm spot and a cold spot underneath it. Then I'm feeling something like a hole and a gap. So colours, dark blues, reds, brights. Smell, wet, cold, feeling moistures. So wet, cold, feeling moistures, okay. Hearing, I'm feeling things stiff around my arms and my head, like I've got here pressure side of my head and it feels like it's squeezing, so it's tight. Stiff cuff wrap around, so it felt like things were wrapping around my arms, like it was like a stiff suit, or that moon suit, or just something grabbing around your arms, all over the place, like holding you, restraining you. For my snapshots, I had like looking into these big holes. Now these look like they're Balinese temples, Indonesian temples. I should sort that out, but yeah. And I'm looking into something, like peering way at the back. I had to look a long distance to try and get into the back. And number 3 here, I've got something sort of like structures down the side of a hill. That was like number 3. So the pics that I had, if I look at the pictures while you guys look at that down there, so the pictures that I had, the choices that I chose were 14 and 12. 14, I'll give you the reasons why for 14. So I had this picture, which was for the temple, and this sort of reminded me of the impression that I got, the visual that I got from that session. So I thought, okay, 14, got to do 14. Boom, picks. I don't know why I wrote 2. I think I wrote 2 because this looked like a cave, but I'm peering into darkness. I'm not peering into light, into the light, or not viewing the picture from the darkness, looking into the light. I'm looking into darkness, so I'm looking into the hole. But definitely 14 and 12. So 12 was the a man in the spacesuit. The reason why I got that man in the spacesuit simply because of several things here. I had flat, hard cold in my arms. Then I started feeling cold from the outside, not from the inside of the jacket. So it felt like there was a cold source, like something was irradiating coldness onto something that's on my body. So I could feel the cold was just outside of my body and not touching my body. Cold down the middle of the back, so it felt cold down the middle of my back. So cold, heart, cold structured, cold flat, cold spot, warm. So definitely think of a person because there's a warm spot, but definitely a cold spot underneath, which means cold is by this person for me. A hole or a gap, I'm not sure what that means, but colours, dark blues, reds, brights, red, white and blue, flag. It's kind of a long shot. I can only think that's American. I see some yellows and some greys, whites, blacks in the picture, but blues, reds and brights, that sort of said American to me. And other than that, I wouldn't think it was the Palm Tire, or I'd think it was the Jets, which was my number 9. But yeah, this guy felt like he was in a suit, which was restricting your movements. There was pressure all around my head, so squeezing in from all angles. And that's my only other, my connection to 12, as far as the coldness of space, maybe the coldness, the pressure of the suits. Arms feel wrapped, so my arms getting covered in this stuff. Wearing stiff clothing, and that's what I wrote down on my session. And the winner of that race was number 12, which was the man in the suit, the astronaut. So hurrah. So yeah, 12 was the winner. It paid, I think, $15 to $1. I only play $1. I'm aware of the feeling of greed, or that growing wantingness of more. And to me, that at the moment is greed. And if I bet $1, I disconnect that wanting, because if I connect to it, I want to bet more. But if I just want to bet $1, no matter what happens, it's only $1. You can't get more, you can't get less. It's sort of like it's you're only testing the numbers. It's not about the money. And I think that's the whole point of this ARV stuff as well. If you detach yourself from the want, from the desire of wanting more, like I should bet $10, if that wins I'll bet $100, it just builds more and more and more. If you can isolate that feeling and you can disassociate from it with the betting, and all you're doing is betting $1. So that's pretty much it. And I think it's that if you don't have that feeling of greed, that emotion of greed, let's just say it, the emotion of greed, it makes the numbers stand out more, hell of a lot more. As soon as greed comes in, it warps that honest view of whatever it is, that view that you want to reveal the numbers. It just pulls it away from it. It's really hard to describe, but I've had some of my most successful bets really when it's just $1. And while the lesson is, don't get sucked into betting more with that feeling of greed when you do that bet. Just bet $1 every time. And just pound that feeling of greed out of it. So I bet $1 on number 12, and I think it paid. I'm just looking at the thing right now, which I'll show for you guys later. So $14.10 for a win, number 12, and that was Novak. All right, so number 1, cool. Got $14. Race number 2. Well, race number 2 was an utter failure. Basically, I was trying to do race number 2 session while I was drinking. So we were going to have some drinks as well. Didn't really work out well. So as far as race 2 went, it failed miserably, but here we go. I'll lead you through the stuff. 2, 10 and 1 were the winners. So 2, 10 and 1 I'll show here. 2 is the cave, 10 is the mask, and 1 is the guy covered in the horns. What did I have? I had 2, which was a cave. Now this wasn't looking like a cave. Cold fist, hand structure thin, hand small. Cold raw inside. So none of these actually started looking like the cave or the lady with the mask or the guy on stage covered in the poles. So let's just scrub it. Race 2. I chose 3 and 9 based on my impressions, but the winners were 2 and 10 and 1. So lost a couple of bucks on that. That wasn't the greatest at all, but that's okay. So let's head on to race 3. This one was a good one as well. Let's go. I actually did pick a winner on this one too. So let's go through intent. So race 3, intent, show me the winning horse number of race 3 of M2 Pukeko race day today. First horse, boof. Do the ideogram, and that becomes your first horse, race 3. First horse of race 3, target. Touch, text, temp, colors, What have we got? We've got cold temps. We've got no temperature on this side. I remember that. And we've got cold temps on the other side of the arm when I'm probing using touch. Text, straight onto that. We go cold feet, inside ankles. Feel like wind, feel heavy. So my feet were feeling heavy. All right. Temp 1, legs. My feet were getting cold. They felt really boxed in, and I drew them as such. Colors, dark, bright, blue, black, red. Smells, moisture, wet, fine day. Hearing, glasses, like. I felt structures in my head, all around my face. Pressure from all sides. Structures in head. Felt like a helmet. Even put an AOL there. Shapes, triangle, not triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4 octagon shapes. Got like a scenescape. Looks like a moon or something, or in this case a planet, planet Earth. So the picks that I chose were 12 and 1. The reasons why I chose those were cold temp feels cold. So cold's one of those things that show up often. Cold feet, dark, bright, blue, black, red, red, white, and blue. Really? If this was white, red, white, and blue, dark, black, same. Smells, moisture, wet, fine day. Glasses, like, pressure. So I arrived at 12, which is this guy here, which I'll show. Now, why did I arrive at that? Because he was covered in cold, he had cold feet, space is cold. It had the same colours, so that sort of reminded me, red, white and blue. Okay, moisture, wet, fine day. Now, why would I think moisture wet and fine day in one sentence? Unless you're breathing in a confined space, your moisture is collecting up inside your suit. So your moisture is increasing. It's still a fine day. It's beautiful outside. But you've got to increase moisture content. I am thinking. That's how I'm thinking. Hearing, glasses like. So I had structures and everything. So for me, that was pretty much like my glasses, my head, the pressures that I was feeling on all sides. Felt like a helmet. When I said helmet, it didn't really click until later that I knew that I only had one that had a helmet, really, unless it was inside that plane, which is another number altogether, number 9. But I was fully sure that this thing here was the module, that thing where they land and take off in, and they got those like windows and stuff, and you can see out the windows, I'm thinking that guy is the lunar module. Anyway, shapes. The guy's looking at this shape. He's looking at Earth. I got landscapes. Pick 12. Boom. Now, why did I choose 1? Now, the only other option that I had for choosing 1 was this guy's wearing socks and feet. He's going to get cold feet. He's got dark, bright, he may not have blues, he's got a little bit of blues, he's got silver on his horns, he's got black around him, and he's got white, he's got bright all around him, he's got red, his suit's kind of red, more orange, but red. Moisture wet, fine day, could be, I don't know, it could be a humid place, it looks like he's sweating, it could be quite humid around him. He's wearing glasses. So those were mine. Even though he fit all the aspects of that lunar impression side of things, I knew it was the lunar guy, the astronaut. It just felt right. And I suppose with all the rules around marking things correct and getting things factored right, you really got to trust your gut at the end of the day. So that's why 12 was my first one and 1 was my second option. But 12 won. And if we go looking at the page, this is race 3. So race 2, I got nothing. Well, looky here. Race 3, number 12, paid $42, 70 cents. I had $1 each way, which meant I got $42 and $8.70. Which means I got $51 approx. Now, how cool is that? That basically paid for the races for the rest of the day. And that was only from $1. $1. And how can you not enjoy that? You got a long shot. Came in from nowhere and beat everybody. Oh, that race was awesome. Just makes me love RV even more. When you pick the long shots, it just tastes so much sweeter. Anyway, before I get carried away, that was the best race of the day. The simple fact that I got $51, $1 bet each way on number 12. It was nobody, came out of nowhere and beat everybody. Thank you, RV. You made that happen. All right. We got race number 4. So race number 4, the picks I got were 15 and, wow, look at the here. So I chose 15 and 7. And for some unknown reason, I changed it to a 9. The winners was a 7, which I originally picked, but chose to, you know what that means? It means my consciousness got in the way and made me change my mind. Don't ever let your consciousness do that. Insert that doubt. So that's where that doubt comes from. So let's go. Let's see if we can relate to number 7. So number 7, if I look at the 7, 8, and 11. So 7, 8, and 11. And let's look at the pictures. We are going to look at race 4. Alright. So race number 7 is the mountain. One of my old buddies. Alright, so let's go here. So M race 4, do the intent, sharpen the focus on what you really want is the first horse of race 4. Boom, I did this guy. Cold feeling, cold feet as well, cool. Boom, next one, texture. Cold shins, so the cold is rising up my legs and my arms. Temperature, I'm getting cold spots all over my body. My back has gone cold. It's overly warm, but it's got a cold spot. And I've got cold spot over limbs. So why would I change my mind from a 7 to a 9? It doesn't even make sense. Everything's telling me that it's a 7 so far. It's just growing cold, just like that photo. Alright, so let's go bright blue, bright darks, bing, bang, boom. Crisp, cool, pure crispiness, sun, cool, cold, tingling. Hearing, left side. Fell off, load off. I wonder. So it felt like side of my face sort of fell off, or load fell off, or maybe there was an avalanche. I don't know. Is that an avalanche happening on the side? No, I don't know. And then we've got some visuals which don't look anything like the mountain. Snapshots buggered me up, but I can understand why I went for 7, because I've just got this growing cold. Everything up until this point makes sense that it's 7. Why I would change it to a 9 just doesn't make sense. So my original pick 7, which was good. 15. So 15, why did I choose 15? So if I bring it 15, which is, boom. Yeah. I did choose 15 thinking that, the coldness could be his amputee leg or something like that, but I've never felt an amputeed target as a target. So it's assumptions, right? So really, guys, don't use untargeted photos as ARV targets. Don't go with assumptions, go with facts. Do your targets and then choose your photos from the targets and the impressions that you get. So 7, so 15, that's not going to happen. So race 4, number 7, paid $3.30. Hey, it was a favourite then, huh? So 7, 8, and 11. Alright, so race 4, could have had a winner race 4, but anyway, race 5. This one we are going down. Race 5, boom, 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 boom. So who won race 5? Let me go to the page. Race 5 was run by number 12. It's funny. I don't know why I put one number 7 there. That's wrong. Anyway, let's do this. So race 5, I've had picks of 7 and 12, so let's go with our pitches. So 7 and 12. Okay, so let's go through the motions. 7 and 12 is the mountain, which I can assume. Now 12 is the only other. Okay, let's just go through the motions. Touch, boom, boom, boom. We've got coldness under feet. So that was really weird. I've never really had temperature under my feet. So I'm only thinking that the bottom of the feet must be exposed in a photo or something. And when you look at this guy, he's sitting down and you can see the bottom of his boots. Clue number 1. Feels rough, cold. Yes, it would. Natural, undisturbed. So when I did the texture the second time, I concentrated on the earth, or what I thought was the ground, and what I rationalized was that undisturbed or compact ground that isn't man-made has a real solidness to it. And these are just ideas that I come up with at the time. I don't put too much stock in it, but it's logic thinking at its best. Undisturbed ground is so compact that it doesn't have any structures or veins or differences inside it, because it's all compressed over an unnaturally amount of time. But man-made stuff is different to its surrounds, and you can tell the difference. So all I'm feeling is natural undisturbedness around me. And I can only think that's just the moon. Like, no one's ever walked on the moon. It just feels undisturbed, like flat, like everything's fitted in. Everything fits in. There's no unnaturalness about the flatness, about everything laying with each other. Anyway, that's what I got there. Warmth cloak, that was just me feeling the warmth of the suit. It felt warm all over my body. Red, orange, brilliant blue streaks. Could be the flag again, I don't know. Smells like bog water smell, high water content smell. So that was that humidity again. So I can only think that he's fucking breathing up shitloads of moisture inside those suits, Hearing, I got the structure in my head and in my shoulders, it just felt like that you could feel that structure sort of appearing. Now when I got these roofs, to me they look like rock formations. I'm thinking that it's cold on a mountain, this is a mountain edge, but I also knew that we're on the moon, so we can probably end up being on the moon, looking at all these formations. Look at the picture, you've got that's probably gigantic in the background compared to him. And when I did the third structure, I just could feel the structure, rigidity, things across my back. And maybe that was the seat he was leaning on, so rigid and solid. So 7 was my pick as the mountain, cold sort of one. And 12 was my other mountain, cold, structured one. So, and when we look at race number 5, number 12 was the winner, and it was winning $10 for the win. Yay! So all's good, and it was a good day. We had a really good, exciting day. Race 3 was the highlight, just by winning that $50 on $1, and we had a good splurge on the rest of the races. The rest of the races were a total wipeout, guys. One of the things that I've noticed around me and races is it's a 4-5 race maximum, race max per ARV session. And that's probably per day as well. So if I really want to get like a whole day's worth of racing in, I've got to spread those sessions over 2 to 3 days. What else? I'm exhausted mentally. At end of session. It is after trying to do 10. You just get mentally, your cognitive functions just slip down levels, that just don't want to work that hard anymore. But your physical body, it's all raring to go, it's going to do stuff, but you're just keeping it simple. Pick better photos, so pick old targets with good impressions. no new unknown targets. Yep. So next session is New Year's Day, and I'll prep for that one and I'll record that one and see how we go. All right, guys. Session end of race day. Time for a drink. See you later, guys.